Hi all, I enjoyed our time together today in class, and I wanted to share with you some things to bear in mind sooner than later as it relates to the upcoming week. First, because some of you have asked, what's due and when is it due? Wednesday, 8 o'clock is the due time. This week there'll be 3 different things to be turning in to me, probably by way of 1 email and 1 text message. This is on the website, but just so you have a sense of it, there is a written assignment based on Chapter 2 on attention. You'll answer those questions. That's 1 assignment to turn in. And the other is on Wednesday, presumably after you've done Wednesday's practice, you'll send me a snapshot or a scanned image of your practice guide. You can send both of those in 1 email. The other item would be sending me a text message. My cell phone is on the website, and that text message will carry a question that you have about practice. So since you'll have had 4 or 5 days to practice, maybe you have a question about posture, maybe you have a question about location, maybe you have a question about time, maybe you have a question about what it feels like, maybe you have a question about some practice in general. To pose a question to me and to do it that would be helpful to you if I were to answer it, and to do so by way of a text message. Those are the primary assignments. Now, in terms of the mindfulness practice you'll be doing this week that will make up what goes in the practice journal, this week is the focused attention practice. We did this practice in class together. That was the first entry for this week's journal that you made note of. There'll be at least 4 more. You're of course welcome to do more practice than that. The first one will be a 6-minute practice, and it's the 6-minute focused attention practice that is found on the So Be Mindful app or found on our class website should you have any issues accessing the focused attention practice on the app. It's important that it's the focused attention practice, and it's important that you start with the 6-minute version. After that, for the other days of the week that you can practice for 6 minutes or 12 minutes. That's entirely up to you. Importantly, we're all practicing the same exercise, and it's either the 6 or the 12-minute practice. One day this week, after you've done the at least 1 home practice, you'll then plan to go outside, find a tree, take your crayons, take your practice field guide, practice journal and field guide, set your timer for 12 minutes, and use your crayons and draw the tree on the other side of the page that we did the tree in class. Use all 12 minutes. If you finish early, take a pause and then get back to more, because you'll find there's probably always more, or sit there and for the remainder of the time. That's entirely up to you, but it is a 12-minute practice. Afterward, turn to your journal and make note of your observations, just like you would have done for any of the other practices. All right, couple things in closing. A really good question was asked in class about thinking about and trying to remember things for what you write in the journal. Endeavor not to do that. If you notice yourself doing that, see if you can let go of that inclination. It's totally fine for you to say, I can't remember, or to have less to say than you might otherwise if you were tracking it as you go. If you can't help yourself but track it as you go, then the thing to observe would be, I kept tracking, trying to remember what my experience was. But we're really interested in your practicing and being present for the practice, and then afterward, noting what you observed or experienced during the practice, and that is whatever it is that you think or that comes to mind. All right. Is there anything else? I would say the only other thing is know that as some of you received responses to, or my replies or comments on your assignment early in the morning on Friday, that's just because that's when I got to it. You need not respond when you get something from me just because I happen to have emailed it to you at that time. I pretty much look at your assignments on Thursday, and sometime between Thursday morning and when we meet for class is when I'm looking over, reflecting on, and perhaps sending comments on or questions on your assignment. So as is, it's always the case where should I text you a question or ask you something, or should I email you? You respond when it's convenient for you and you've had time to reflect on the question, if that would be helpful. All right, wishing you a wonderful weekend. Looking forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions in the upcoming week about your practice, in addition to at least once on the Wednesday, texting me a question, feel free to reach out along the way if I can be helpful.